We are April and Scott, creators of naughtygym.com, and this is the Naughty Gym Show.
For years, we've been fitness and nutrition coaches to thousands of people through our commercial gyms and online platform. We've also spent nearly a decade in an ever-evolving open relationship.
This show brings together two of our biggest passions, fitness and sex positivity. Our mission is to maximize the physical and mental health of anyone brave enough to explore relationship structures that run counter to societal norms.
We have demolished our old ways of thinking about relationships, and from that rubble, built a life full of happiness, adventure, and vitality. And now we want to help you do the same.
So hop on the treadmill, start the show, and let us teach you how to never stop playing. Welcome back to the Naughty Gym Show. I'm your host, April, and this is the love of my life, my co-host, Scott.
I don't know
gets
what
sweeter and sweeter.
Yeah, I don't
know how to react.
I don't know what it means when it jelly legs me that you say something nice.
So in today's episode, I took the wheel today, and
April, take the wheel.
Exactly. Because I am a little bit like Jesus.
Is that? I didn't know that was why.
I just wanted to talk about what's been going on in our life. The past 2 weeks, we've had a lot of great conversations. We've had a lot of stuff going on. And so I didn't really feel like we needed like a super fleshed out outline. I just thought we can just kind of be off the cuff and share some stuff with our listeners and kind of give them an update. So,
and I'm sure this is going to be incredible.
It is. First, though, I want to point out we've had people ask how they could help support the podcast. And we've had several people tell us that we should start a Patreon. And so we have. And it's patreon.com/naughtygym. If you want to support us, there's 3 different tiers. I think it starts at like $3 and goes up to $10 a month. But what you'll get there are access to some of our after chats. All the podcasts will be uploaded on there as well. You can listen straight from there. And then you'll get some input on like what future podcast episodes we'll have. We'll give some shout outs to some of our Patreon members. So patreon.com/naughtygym if you want to join that and want to support us, because we do this for free. We don't get any money from our podcast. So that just kind of helps us keep the microphones on, the lights on, and your support would be greatly appreciated. So I wanted to start out sharing something that happened recently. It was a very traumatic experience for me. I fell down the stairs.
Oh, God. I didn't know where this was going. And now I'm just going to laugh.
And that's what you did that night. So this was 2 nights ago. We've got a flight of stairs that probably has, 18 to 20 steps.
That could be an exaggeration, but all right.
I will go count right now because I fell down all but 2 of them.
Hold on a second. Let's pause. Okay.
We are back from our brief pause.
I am back.
Scott, how many stairs do we have?
How many did you say?
18 to 20.
15.
Okay. It felt like 18 to 20 when my ass was hitting everyone.
I got to admit, 15's more than I thought.
Okay. So we had gone out. There may have been some wine involved. We'd gone to a wine tasting, had dinner at a nice restaurant with our girlfriend. I got home and I have these really plush slippers. And so I was going to run downstairs real quick right before bed. And you were already in bed. And I took that first step and my slipper flew off and I tumbled down 13 steps.
13 of the 15.
Both of my slippers were off when I got to the bottom. And I just kind of laid there getting some inventory. And I didn't hear anything from you.
Well, all I remember is I think I was asleep. I think maybe I just got in and passed out. And I just remember I thought for some reason as I woke up from the noise that you had gotten 4 suitcases and tossed them down the steps for some reason, because it sounded horrible.
But you did not come and check on me at all. So I hollered, I'm like, oh my God, did you hear that? And you were like, what was that? I said, I just fell down the stairs. And you didn't say, are you okay? You started laughing hysterically. And at that point, I was still like taking inventory. Like, I've got some bruises. I thought maybe I had broke my arm because it hurts so bad. So I've got some bumps and bruises. Finally, I collected myself enough to go back upstairs, and I was a little irritated that you didn't come in and check on me.
But thankfully, I was already back asleep and didn't have to hear.
No, you were not.
Oh, was I not?
No, you maybe had indulged in too much wine to remember this correctly.
I don't drink wine, so it was.
So
I have
when
no
I
tolerance.
Came into the bedroom, I started showing you like my scratches and bruises, and you were laughing so hard you couldn't breathe.
I don't remember that part.
And I was so mad, and you were like, well, I said, I cannot believe you didn't come and check on me. Like, I could have been dead at the bottom of those steps. And you said, well, you didn't come to the hospital with me 4 years ago when I had to go to the hospital. And that's a story we've never told on the podcast, but maybe we'll tell that on our Patreon. And at that time, you asked me, do you want to go to the hospital with me? I said no. But ever since then, I've told you, I regret that. I will never do that again. I should have gone to the hospital with you. It wasn't a life or death.
I love the fact that I can wake up essentially out of a sleep and still hold you accountable to a past
transgression from 4 years ago. So I woke up the next day incredibly sore. I think I gave myself whiplash, and my hips and my back and my butt are all bruised up.
And as we started waking up, I started realizing, I bet she's actually really mad at me for not, because you started explaining what had happened and it was all starting to crystallize in my memory. But
oh yeah, well, like in the middle of the night, you went to put your hand on me and I pushed it away. I was like, you don't get to touch me.
And I don't remember that at all.
Had that been like really like severe, like I would have, you would have just found me dead at the bottom of the stairs the next morning because you made no effort.
Yeah, I can't imagine how long it would have taken me if you hadn't woke me up to tell me. And I would have woken up the next morning with your lifeless corpse rotting at the bottom of the steps. I don't know that I could have.
No empathy. None.
It would have been in that case. Yeah.
No empathy. I will not go to the hospital with you the next time you go. I rescind that.
Well, we're talking about an episode that did require me to go to the hospital. Yours was not nearly as
I
dramatic.
Probably still should go get an x-ray on my hand. It's super swollen and bruised.
Yeah, it's at least an 1/8 of an inch scratch right there. So you might ought to get that checked out.
You're lucky I'm not a dramatic person.
So lucky.
All right. So we're going to be talking about, like I said, some things that have been going on in our life, but also kind of what happens when you've got two people that are building a partnership and also trying to unlearn the systems that have kind of shaped both of us. We both came from very religious pasts, and we live in a very super conservative part of the world. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But first, we released this week bookings for 3 of our retreats. The Mancation Mountain and our Wild and Wise Mancation Mountain, which is a men's retreat, Wild and Wise women's retreat, which is November 8th through the 11th in the Smoky Mountains, and our holidays, couples, thruples, and moresome retreat that is November 15th through the 20th. So we are officially calling the month of November Naughty Gym Month.
Well, yeah, and this year is a little different. We've got bigger cabins. Both of the cabins for the men's and women's retreat that are happening on the same weekend are right beside each other. So that's kind of nice. And then a week later, we'll be back for holidays. So, and that was one of the most fun things we did all year last year was the holidays experience.
Yeah. And Mancation and Wild and Wise.
Yeah. I would say still that my experience at the men's retreat at Mancation Mountain was the most, arguably the most impactful thing I've done in the last 10 years.
I will say I've probably heard from more men about the Mancation Mountain men's retreat than any other trip that I've heard men weigh in on.
Yeah. Probably so. And that was a little bit surprising because, I didn't even want to do the men's retreat. No, guys don't want to do this kind of stuff. I don't want to do it, and then it turns out it was incredible.
Yeah, it really was. So those are all, you can go to naughtygym.com, click on our events tab. Booking is open. We've already sold some rooms, but there are still some rooms available, and you'll see our full, we have 7 events on the calendar this year, including our Wild Love Theory retreat in April. We have 2 spots left for that. Our June Toronto X Club event, Barcelona in August, El Salvador in October, then our 3 retreats in November, and then we go right back into January at Hedonism with Be Better Being Bad. So join us, travel with us, connect with some people.
It's a lot of work, but we expect no sympathy because it is a fun job to, I say,
incredible people.
Yeah. All right. What do you got for us tonight? Because I have no idea.
Just things that have been going on. So we've also been dealing with, it is March 1st today when we're recording. Our youngest son is getting ready to go off to college, and we still do not have a definitive decision where he's going. Him and I leave tomorrow night, leaving to go visit the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Last weekend, he and I visited Marion Military Institute because he got a congressional nomination for a new Patriot Pipeline for the early commission program for that. And so there's just a lot up in the air, and I've been so stressed about it.
Well, you've been for, I'm going to say 3 or 4 months now, consumed with the college application process, the military academy application process. And it just seems like every day you spend 2 hours filling out some new form or calling some new person.
Well, and he's had interviews, and, you have to go in person to these interviews, and he's writing essays, and the process is rival to that of an Ivy League college. I mean, it is not an easy thing. And to get the congressional nomination for the Air Force Academy and the Patriot Pipeline was no small feat. So we're super proud of him. But that is what I am losing sleep over these days because I know he's stressed out, and it's March already. It's decision time very soon. So we'll spend 5 days in Colorado Springs, he and I together. So I am really looking
not just the Air Force Academy, but you're also going to look at Colorado State University in case he doesn't get accepted academy.
Right. He'll go ROTC with Colorado State. So, and that's another thing we're waiting on to see if he qualified for the national scholarship. So that is what we have been up to lately. So in between college visits, booking retreats, we have also been unpacking purity culture, masculinity, emotional labor.
Just simple stuff.
Just regular dinner conversation. Yeah. So I made 4 posts this past week on our Instagram and TikTok accounts about purity culture and talking a little bit about me being a sexual assault survivor. So what has really brought that to the surface for me is the Epstein files, which I have been trying not to watch news because that has also been stressing me out. But seeing what's been going on in the news play out just makes it real raw for me. And so I just felt like I needed to say something, and posting about it, I still had in the back of my head, like, should I do this? Is this even the space? Like, Naughty Gym is more, fitness, lifestyle, but this has a place because you and I do so much work, have been doing so much work to undo the societal constructs that have been put on us. And that's why we're in an open relationship, because we've been able to kind of break down some of those what society tells us a relationship should be. And so it just does fit in with that. And I am a strong woman. And in the South, that's not always looked upon very favorably. But I do have a voice. And so I feel like it's an important topic to talk about. I was raised in a purity culture. I was sexually assaulted when I was a child several times. And moving from childhood into young adulthood in purity culture just kind of reinforced that shame. Don't use your voice. Don't be, be compliant. Don't be too loud. Don't, speak out. And so I felt like something shifted in me the last few months. Just watching stuff play out in media, where I felt like, I have a platform. I need to use my voice.
Yeah. Well, and I've always felt incredibly impressed by the fact that despite what happened to you when you were younger, you still have managed to do the work to get yourself to a place where you have a healthy outlook on sex in general. But you've taken it a step further and been able to open yourself up to the idea of intimate connections with other people, not just doing the work to make our intimacy viable, but you've opened yourself up to an even harder step. And that's impressive considering the trauma you went through.
Well, I don't think that it's always been healthy, though, my view of sexuality and my view of relationships. And I'm still uncovering some of that. I'm still questioning why I do some things that I do or respond in ways that I do. And I don't think it always has been, even though you have said from the beginning, 10, 11 years ago, I'm just shocked that you have such a healthy view of sexuality. I don't know that it's always been healthy, because I have learned over the last 10 years to use my voice to speak up more. I've learned that I was saying yes when I should have said no or maybe and taken a pause. And,
well, yeah, it's not, I don't think either of us have lived sexuality perfectly. But it is, and it's not that I'm saying that I think every decision you or we have ever made in this open relationship journey has been correct. It's just that we've never seemed, when we make a misstep, we're always able to come back to each other, talk it through, and use it as a way of improving ourselves.
Yeah.
That is the problem that I think is sometimes difficult when you have such extreme trauma, sexual trauma in your background. It's hard to even view sex as a good thing at all.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just struggle to even talk about the subject. You go out there, you take risks, you experiment, we experiment, we do things. And while we haven't been perfect, it has been beautiful.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this to your credit, you have always given me a safe space to come back and go, you know what? That didn't work for me. I thought that this is what I wanted, or I thought that this is what would be right for me. And I'm realizing that this isn't the path for me. And you've never judged me. You've never made me feel ashamed. You've never been like, well, no, you said we could do this and now you're changing your mind. You've always left the door open for me to make a decision that was right for me, whether or not it aligned with what you wanted.
Yeah.
You have always allowed me that freedom, which I really appreciate.
Well, I recognized early on that I am not in a position to be able to really understand somebody with sexual trauma in their background, because I don't know that you can really understand it unless you've experienced it. And I haven't. But I've, I guess, hopefully been wise enough to think, well, look, she has experienced it, and whatever she needs from you, you should be understanding, because you don't have the ability to empathize completely because you haven't experienced it. So I've just tried to be as supportive as I could, and I've made mistakes there. But
well, and we all do. But so as we are, the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of conversations around the masculine and the feminine, what society calls masculine, what they call feminine, and how those two can mix or merge, or why they shouldn't, and what they are, and the language around masculinity and femininity. And that's something that I have been hypersensitive to. Probably, I'm not going to say too much, because I don't think there is a too much. I'm just really trying to sit in my feels right now. But part of that is a fear that if I show too much emotion or too much anger or grief, which I am really angry right now at the systems right now, that I would lose credibility, especially around men. And as a female business owner, there have been a lot of times, especially when we owned a brick and mortar, where as a female business owner, I didn't have credibility as a woman. Like people would come in and they would want to talk to the owner of the business. And I would be like, well, I'm the owner. And they would say like, well, where's your husband? That kind of language, makes me angry, but I think it's like a righteous anger. Yeah. But I have to be very careful, especially the past couple of weeks, to make sure that you understand it's not anger at you, it's anger at the systems. Because sometimes in the heat of the moment when I'm feeling reactive, it can be blurred.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. I understand that. But in the moment,
it doesn't feel like that.
if you're raging out, and you don't rage out, but you know what I mean? If you're angry about something, it can sometimes feel like you're directing that anger at me. And while my logical brain goes, this is not about you, just shut up, shake your head, yes, and love on her. It's not always easy.
Right. Right.
But if I will allow myself to be that soft landing place, even if it feels like you're directing at least some of it at me, you'll come around a few minutes later and go, hey, look, that's not about you. This is me. And I just have to be sympathetic to the plight.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do a good job of that. It's been difficult, but you are also unlearning some things and recognizing like specific language that you use that I think is historically been like masculine language.
Oh, I've got a great example that I learned. I've been like, so I've hired a therapist to help me. One of the concepts we talk about in the book, Wild Love Theory, is, and this was a concept essentially you highlighted and came up with, because one of the things that happened is once I will call it released you from all the rules I had on you, expecting you to now go, oh, okay, well, I have all this freedom. I'm going to go have fun and do whatever I want to do with this freedom. You struggled to do that because, and we were just messaging with some friends of ours, in the 10 minutes of free time you have every day, instead of using that to go be wild, crazy April, you just want to get under a blanket on the couch and rest because you're exhausted. Right. Because you do more of the bill paying, more of the household chores, more of the, your brain is constantly having to remember all the things that need to be done. And while I should have been shouldering my share of that load, I wasn't. And now we're working hard to fix that. And I actually have gotten rid of the first counselor because they were a good general counselor, but I found somebody on Instagram that's a specialist in this
emotional load,
mental load that women typically are the ones carrying an uneven burden. What
we're talking about is like the invisible mental burden, the anticipating the needs of your partner or your household. Like, are we out of toilet paper? Are we out of paper towels? Where I'm going to go pick that up. It's managing the emotional tone. It's
what time do the kids need to be at school?
Planning relational awareness. Like, I'm going to buy your mother a Christmas present. I'm going to make sure all of the holidays are planned. I'm going to all of this stuff that historically I have taken on out by default because I came out of a marriage where I was trying to be the Proverbs 31 woman, right? Where she takes care of her husband and she makes herself look pretty and she puts her makeup on and she gives him sex when he wants it.
Perfect.
And she does everything that the Bible tells you you're supposed to do. And so when I came into our relationship, I literally made a lateral movement and just started, okay, well, this is what I know. This is what I'm supposed to do. And so it's undoing all of those supposed tos and realizing you aren't doing the dishes because you're helping me.
That's what I was about to get to.
You're doing the dishes because you live here and this is our shared space and you're my partner. No more than a man babysits his own children. You're not babysitting your children. You are taking care of your children.
Yeah. And this is one of the things that, so over the past few weeks, we've been trying to put systems in place and things that help make sure that I'm carrying my share. And I have I don't know that I've caught myself. I know that I have done this, and maybe this new person in the workshop that I've paid for has helped me see is I have been guilty of going over the past few weeks as I've been making these improvements, saying things like, "Hey, baby, I helped you with the laundry today," or "I helped you," and what I'm saying when I say I helped you is that I know this is your job, but look at me, the hero husband.
Right.
I've helped you do part of your job.
And it puts me in the managerial role and almost the mom role, right? Like I have children. I don't need another child. I don't want to be your manager in managing your tasks and stuff like that. That's just not a sexy space to be in either, right? Where I'm like, oh, did you take the garbage out? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then you want to go have, not you, and then like, how do I get into a sexy headspace after I just managed you?
Well, and I've done this a lot. I've seen other men do it. It is almost not helpful for me to go, if you'll just ask me, I'll do whatever you want. Ask me to take out the garbage, ask me to wash the dishes, ask me to take the kids to this thing, ask me to do that. Well, by the time you've shouldered all the emotional burden of remembering for hours or days or weeks that this thing needs to be done and reminding me to do it, you could have just done it yourself and probably not even had as much of an emotional load to carry. You could have just remembered it when it was time, but now you got to remember to tell me.
Well, and that's the thing, if you're constantly saying, well, just tell me what needs to be done. That's another burden for me to have to do. Like, well, you live in this house. Like if you lived alone, what would you do? Do that.
Yeah, right.
Do that. Or, and there are growing pains with it because there are times where you're like, there's things that I have handled that you have no idea about, things on the business end where I have just taken on because, at one point you said this kind of stuff frustrates me and I am a people pleaser and a doer. And so I would just take it and go, well, I'll do it. He will never know about it.
Yeah,
he'll never see it.
Paperwork stuff.
Right. Yeah. He'll never see it. He'll never know about it. And so that stuff just kind of accumulates and piles up and snowballs. And then when you're like, just tell me what to do, I'm like, I don't even know where to start.
Well, even and then there's subtle things like this morning. I've been trying every morning to get up. Not every morning, but when I'm up ahead of you, I try to make you coffee and bring it to you because I'm trying to like, all right, let's she's doing so much more than you. Let's ease that pain somewhere. So I'm making coffee and I get up and I wash any dishes we left in the sink the night before. And this morning I ran through a list. Well, you came down the steps. I
didn't fall down the steps when I walked down the steps.
Yeah, you walked this morning. Yeah. So much better. But I ran through a list of the 4 or 5 things that I had done this morning before you got up. Now, I know that I was doing that for a particular reason, but that's part of the problem. I wanted you to know that I had done those things so that you could give me an attaboy. Yet you do those things every fucking day. And I don't walk around going, hey, thanks for doing the dishes. Thanks for, folding the laundry thing. I don't do it. But for some reason, I think I'm owed that from you because I stepped up for 5 minutes one day and did those things. Right. That's the kind of shit that I'm trying to rework my brain to stop doing. And the harder it is, the more telling that is about how deeply that shit's ingrained in our minds because of our culture. It's like, some men may not feel this way, but a lot of us grew up thinking those things are women's jobs.
Right.
And even when you think you're not the guy that thinks that way, you can still hear it seep into the way we use words and the language that we use. Like, I helped you with the laundry today.
Right.
So yeah, that's some stuff we've been working on because I know that you are never going to feel the power of leaning into this free life if all you can do is think about all the tasks you've got to get done before you go to bed tonight.
Right. Right.
Last thing you want to do is think about, I'd like to go out partying because while the dishes are in the sink and the laundry still needs doing.
Well, so you said something that reminded me to bring it back. I want to bring it back to the masculinity, femininity conversation. So we had a live chat this past Wednesday night. We do it every Wednesday night, except for this Wednesday, because I'll be out of town.
In our Naughty Gym platform.
In our Naughty Gym platform, and at naughtygym.com. And one of our members told us that he was kind of struggling with, like, not toxic masculinity, but what is masculinity and why is it defined the way it is? And so he had shared a TEDx talk by Tony Porter, and it was just like 11 minutes. And it was, I'm going to share one of the stories that Tony Porter was telling. He was talking about his two children. He had a son and a daughter, and his son was 15 months older than his daughter. And his daughter was 4 years old at the time, and she was crying, and she came running up to him, and he grabbed her in his arms, and she's crying and she's snotting all over his shirt. And he's just, what is it, baby? What's the matter? Daddy's here. It's okay. It'll be okay. And just comforting her and letting her feel her feelings. His son starts crying. And he said,
this is a separate incident.
Incident. Yeah. He said, when my son starts crying, I started an internal clock. He has 30 seconds to stop. And he said, by the time my son got to me, I said, what is your problem? What's up? What's going on? Why are you crying like that? Stop crying. I can't understand you. And was just harsh and said, go to your room until you can stop crying like a man.
And come back here and talk to me like a man.
Talk to me like a man. And it's like those conversations that we have with our children.
And by the way, he was pointing out his deficiency as a father because of that. He wasn't acting like that's the way you should treat. He was
pointing out the deficiency in the masculine culture to be able to share and express and sit in and feel your emotions. And so when I say to people, I am an angry feminist, what that does not mean is that I don't love men and have compassion and empathy for men. I have 5 brothers and 3 sons and a husband who I love. And I am fully aware.
That's a lot of male.
That's a lot of male energy. I was raised with, I have 2 sisters I was not raised with, and my mother had very masculine energy. And so, I understand that men are taught at a very young age that it's not okay to feel those feelings. It's not okay to sit in those feelings. It's not okay to express them openly and still have credibility. And we can post a link to that TEDx talk because it's just 11 minutes, but it's super good.
Yeah, it really is good.
Highlights the man box and how men are taught that this is the set of rules that you're supposed to follow to be a man. And other men will call you out and hold you by these standards. And if you waver from these standards, they'll take your man card and you're no longer as manly. And so when I say I'm an angry feminist, I do love men. And I want men to also be able to share their emotions and feel like they have credibility and to feel like they have a say and that they have space. And that's difficult.
Yeah, I'm trying to break myself. Well, and I hope I'm right about this, but I've just come to this belief that I don't know how to word it, to be honest. I hate when somebody talks about, I understand the toxic masculinity thing. I'm not even sure I understand the regular masculinity. What would that look like?
Right.
What is healthy masculinity other than, to me, just be a good person?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything that simply because I'm a man that I should do.
Yeah.
Or not do.
Yeah.
What I should do is be a kind, loving, helpful person and look for ways to make my life better and other people's better. But that doesn't mean I'm doing that because I'm a man. It's just because I'm a human who values the lives of other humans. I'm not sure anymore what it means to be a man. I'm not even sure I care.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the conversation I think that needs to be had. When I hear somebody say, most men do this, or most women do this, this is how most women respond, this is how most men respond, that makes me cringe on the inside. Because first of all, you have not met most women and you have not met most men. There are people that don't respond like that. What I would say is healthy people respond like this. Healthy people respond like this. I had on one of my posts on TikTok a guy who was talking about how absurd polyamory and consensual non-monogamy is. And he said something like, what am I supposed to do when I give my wife permission to go date another man? And then she comes home like women do and gets emotional because he broke up with her. And I'm like, I had no issue with anything else other than him saying, like most women do.
Oh, you didn't have a problem with the permission part?
I mean, no, that was inferior to what most women.
It wasn't as problematic as that.
Like, as humans, we are still all responsible for our emotions. We are responsible for how our actions affect other people. There are consequences. If we want a healthy relationship and we want an open relationship, then we have to take responsibility for ourselves first and what we do. And that's why you and I have taken that's one reason why I'm so proud of you for taking responsibility for your own emotional health, and you're going to therapy, because it's not just the woman's job to do the emotional healing, the emotional work. Most men that I've talked to in the lifestyle will talk about how proud they are of their wives who are in therapy. And when I ask them if they're in therapy, they say no. That is one of my largest frustrations with men in the lifestyle.
I think for me, the reason I've had previous marriages. I've been to therapy and all those, and I actually tend to enjoy it. Typically, though, I don't
You've been to couples therapy or individual?
Well, that's what I was about to say. So typically, though, I don't seek out that therapy unless I see a problem, like an obvious, I'm about to lose something type of problem.
Right.
Like, oh, my marriage is about to end. Now, the problems existed before I came to the realization that I was about to lose the relationship. But I've always enjoyed therapy in that setting. What I have never done until now is we're in a good place, or I feel like, is our relationship perfect? No. Do we never have any issues? No. But overall, we have a tremendous relationship.
Yeah.
And typically, if that would lead me to think, all right, I don't need any therapy. And I don't even know that I need therapy as much as, well, if I want to become better, and I've recognized some of these places where I could be better, well, wouldn't it be beneficial to just have somebody help steer the process? Maybe I would get there on my own eventually, but I bet you if I've got an expert helping me, I get there faster. And that is a great sign that I care more about you than if I just sat back and said, I'm pretty good now.
Yeah.
I'll get better.
Well, let me address that. I don't know that I need therapy. If you want to lift some of my emotional burden, you need therapy, because it is not my job to tell you where you need to improve. It is, if you're wanting to know, like, how can I help you? How can I help you? I can't make you see everything from my vantage point, nor can I give you advice on how to fix or not fix, because you don't need to be fixed, but you need an outside perspective sometimes. It shouldn't be my job to manage that.
Well,
that's your responsibility as a whole human to go, look, I love my partner this much and I'm missing something, but I'm not going to go to her to fix it and tell me what I need to do. I'm going to go to somebody else so that doesn't become her burden.
Yeah.
And I'm going to work with this other person to see how I can be better.
And another slight variation on that same issue, we used to, when we had our commercial gyms, on Saturdays, we always did partner workouts. Mm-hmm. And almost every time a couple came to the class, they wanted to partner together. Early on, we established a rule after seeing a bunch of problems with this that said you cannot partner with your spouse or your partner. You can't partner with your partner because it and it was almost always the men's fault because the man wanted to coach their partner through that workout. They wanted to tell them how to do it, tell them when they were doing it wrong, all this kind of stuff. And we finally said, look, it's easier for your partner to listen to me, the coach, or you, the coach, than it is to listen to their spouse or their boyfriend or their girlfriend or whatever. And this is the same kind of thing. It is much harder for me to hear you explain your things because you're going to outline your problem pretty well, but it's also packaged in the emotion that you feel and then maybe some of the anger or disappointment in me. And it makes it harder for me to hear it because all I'm doing is focusing on the parts that you're
going to get defensive.
Yeah, I'm going to get defensive. Right. And it's one of my worst character traits. I defend myself all the time. And having somebody outside of us makes it so much easier to digest.
Yeah.
So guys, don't think that you're a man. You don't need a fucking therapist.
Or not only that, like
just go and you'll
what I've heard men say is, well, I don't have any trauma from my past. I don't have sexual trauma. I don't have this. If your wife is in therapy, not couples therapy, because I think couples therapy is good too.
Mm-hmm.
If she's in individual therapy, I believe you probably need to be in individual therapy. This is not just a her issue. And what that can feel like is, I'm so proud of all this work my wife is doing. I'm so proud.
She needed it.
She's doing all of this work. Well, what are you doing?
Right.
What emotional load are you carrying?
Well, that brings up a good point.
Because your wife is carrying a huge emotional burden. What are you doing?
Well, that brings up a good point. Something I'm going to do with my therapist. You're going to a therapist to learn how to handle your sexual trauma in a healthy and progressive way. So should I. I don't have any sexual trauma, really, but do I think that I was born with all of the tools necessary to help a grown woman navigate past sexual trauma? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Why do I think that that you're the only one in this relationship that needs to work on your sexual trauma? I should too.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to handle it. I need to learn how to comfort in the right way, to say the right things. And right now I'm kind of, floundering at sea. I don't really know how to do that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't experienced it. I don't really know those things. So that's another thing I'm going to make my therapist help me with.
Well, and there's been a lot though, as we've talked during the week, and I've asked you, like, did you share this with your therapist? And you were like, oh no, that's embarrassing. And I'm like, that's what you're supposed to be talking to her about. But that's hard because it's out of your comfort zone. And it's like, how honest should I be? Like, what should I show them? What should I tell them? I mean,
one of those, as guys, a lot of times, not all guys, not all cultures, but we're raised to, think, all right, look, don't be such a baby, handle your emotions, deal with it internally. But so it makes it harder to not feel shame or like we're not as manly if we have to reach out for help. It's not about you need help as much as help get you to the goal faster. You can argue that you need it, but if that word makes you feel inferior, then just say, look, I want to get to this goal, and an outside perspective from an expert can help me get to that goal faster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I'm super proud that you have started therapy, and that does relieve some emotional burden from me.
Because you've got backup.
Right. Well, not so much backup. Like, I don't need validation. I know I'm right. No, but
maybe bring that up
to
your therapist. But it does
feel good to not being the only one doing the internal work, right? Like, so I know, because this isn't just a me issue. It's a we issue, right? If we're in a partnership.
Your issue is our issue. My issues are our issues.
Right. And I'm not the only one with issues.
Who else does?
I don't know. Ryan's with but it does show maturity. You're so mature.
I think anybody that knows me well will disagree. I think you should ask your
therapist why you left me laying at the bottom of a flight of steps.
Because I was asleep and I was drunk. None of that. You cannot hold me accountable for that. But I still am proud of how funny and clever I was during that process that I don't remember.
You didn't wake up. You were like, oh, wait, didn't you fall down the stairs?
Yeah, like, that's what I asked you.
Motherfucker.
I remember asking you the next morning, like, did you fall last night?
I'm about to throw hands if I could, because I think I broke one.
Yeah, don't throw that left hand. We got to get that x-ray. You got to get your tiny scratch and bruise x-rays.
I've got some bruises.
Yeah, put it up there to the camera.
I don't bruise easily, okay? I take all my vitamins. All right. So,
what's next?
We're going to talk about some things that we're proud of. I'm proud that you started therapy. I'm proud that you are aware of the need for shifts in language and the words that you choose. I'm proud that you're taking ownership of our space and the space that you live in, and your willingness to give me space and give me grace in those times, because I'm really hot right now. Like I'm in my angry era.
Hot. So hot.
In my angry era, especially when it comes to men and the systems that have been created to keep women down, and keep women compliant and to keep women quiet and to not believe women. And I'm feeling super, super protective of my ladies, of my women. And, but I also know it's not all men. I know some really good men, and really good men sometimes still have work to do. And so I'm really working on giving people grace and, being empathetic to what you have grown up, what society has placed on you as well, that burden.
Well, and I want to say too, in case any men are listening to this going, well, we're never going to talk about women's issues. Women do have problems too. April's got problems. I have problems. We all have problems. The difference here is, I need to be careful how I say this, I guess, but a lot of women's problems stem from an inequality that is built into the system. Men don't face that, or at least certainly you can make an argument that we have some inequalities somewhere in the system, but I don't know what they are. And even if there are some there, they're minuscule compared to the problems that not just women, but all minorities have faced. And so for a guy to start acting like, hey, like, especially like some white guy, oh, why don't we have White History Month, or why don't we have toxic femininity? And maybe those things have some tiny merit somewhere, but you have lived a life of, if you're a white male in the United States, you have lived the life of as much cultural privilege as possible. Yet you're still going to kick back when people who haven't had as much as you are trying to fight for their share of the pie. And that's where the problems start to come in. And that's why there's so much more conversation about toxic masculinity, racism, bigotry in general, anti-LGBT.
Just look at, men have full autonomy over their body. A woman does not have the right over her own body. The research on, medical studies that have been done on men's bodies and like hormones in women's. Okay, I'm going to have to.
Well, look, I'm with you.
That'll be a whole nother episode.
And I need everybody that's listening to this podcast to know how with you I am, that I have now converted to being a lesbian.
Thank you. Angry feminist lesbian.
I'm an angry lesbian. And
I've always wanted, that's my dream. I've made it. I'm married to an angry feminist lesbian.
Well, I'm going to take it a step further, and you don't know this, but we're about to sell our Camry and buying a Subaru.
Actually, I would love a Subaru. I also love my Camry.
Oh.
For those of you that don't know, when Scott asked me what my favorite car is,
God, she's so lame.
A 2012 Camry Sport Edition, black with black tinted windows.
That's how you know you have no imagination.
Here's the thing. I had that car at one point, and I gave it to my 16-year-old son, and he crashed it. But I love Camrys.
It's the same.
Practical.
Is it the same?
If you want me to have a better car, go to patreon.com/Naughty and support us. I think it's like $3, $7, and $10 a month.
Oh, it feels so cheesy to just like ask for money like that. But please do. We would take all your money if you'll give it to us. Yeah, that was the kid that crashed that black Camry was also the kid that when you bought it, he was a baby, and the first day you had it, bit a chunk out of the back of the seat, exposing all the stuffing in the seat.
Yeah. He is also now Special Forces in the Navy.
He is protecting your security, so you're welcome.
Okay.
What else we got? What other world problems can we solve?
Well, we're going to wrap things up. Thanks for listening to our ranting today. These conversations are just in real time for us. This is the last 2 weeks. Our life has really been saturated with these kind of conversations. And I appreciate
They really have. I do want to say one last thing to the men that are listening. I understand how sometimes it can feel like when somebody, a powerful woman like April, is saying, "Man, you got a lot of work to do," that it can cause us to be defensive. We can have reactions to it and want to say our side and all of that kind of stuff. I get that. I am the most defensive man on earth. It is my biggest weakness. The minute she comes at me with some issue is the minute I'm trying to make sure she understands I didn't mean it the way she thought I meant it. All right. I'm defensive. If we can just get past that and realize that we do have some privileges as men that women don't experience, then when they come to us, whether it's calm, heated, or otherwise, if you'll just sit back and go, this is not directed at you. This is more an issue of the culture that we live in. You'll start to see your partner in a different perspective and realize that you can actually help if you'll just start to really do a good job of trying to understand the perspective they're coming from. And that takes a lot of internal work. It's not easy because we tend to think we're pretty good where we're at, but there's things that we can change and be better at. And guys, it is a testament to your internal power as a person if you'll sit back and listen without judgment and then try to find the places where you can change and make things better.
I agree. All right. So if this episode resonated with you and you want a little more, we're going to be doing an after chat where we go a little deeper and a little more unfiltered. And Scott has an incredible story.
It's not an incredible story.
It is almost, I cannot even believe it's true. I can't believe the words came out of his mouth when he told me the story today. And we're going to have that on our Patreon. So patreon.com/Naughty Gym if you want to hear this story.
Yes.
Like we said, if you've ever gotten value from any of our episodes, if we've shared something that has helped your relationship or your own growth, this is where you can support us. There's 3 tiers starting at just $3. But if you can't support us on Patreon, you can share this episode. You can leave a review. You can send it to someone you love. That means just as much to us.
I do want to say one final thing. If you listen to our podcast regularly and you heard a few episodes ago, the story of me pissing on the couch, one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me in the story we're going to tell in the after chat tonight.
Rivals that.
No, not rivals it. It's worse.
It is worse. I agree with that.
Here's the thing too. If you listen to it, please don't sign up. Don't pay for that Patreon account if you're a woman who thinks you ever want to have sex with me. Because you will never
sign up for the $10 tier.
You will never want to again.
Well, I'm going to have sex with you again.
You don't count.
Could not believe the words that came out of your mouth. Thank you for being here. Truly, remember to never stop playing, and we'll see you in the after chat.